I thought it was gonna say like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we are.
Woo! There's no countdowns here, girl. When it's live,
It's live.
it's just live when it's live and it's live. So we just go. We just go.
Yeah,
we just go.
Don't we know this? We just go.
We just go.
Yeah.
Just me. We didn't think about what funniest we could tell about control today.
My goodness, this is the one thing that we have to like really say. So.
What we got? So tonight, you guys were talking about control. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Danielle? What's up? What's going on? Nurtured Essence has joined us. Hello, hello, hello. Tonight we're talking about control issues and letting stuff go. It has been a trying week. It has been a trying few months. It has been a trying year. And it's just life. But my God, we've been put through the ringer collectively. And we're learning all sorts of things about control, power, domination, and from a very large perspective, as well as in our own lives, right? Individually, the ways that we try to have control over things. And I don't know if there's any perfectionists out there. Hello? Talking to a recovering one.
and another one.
And what it is, to let go of control, why it's important, what we can learn, what control has to show us when these control issues come up, when fear comes up, when our judgments and our criticisms come up, what they have to show us, how we learn, and where do we go from there? How do we find resiliency coming from control? So let's just dive in. What are the things that we try to have control over? They can be our feelings. We might try to control our thoughts. We could control
the way people treat you, the way the comments they make about you.
Yeah. And by doing that is like how we try to control our image, right? How we can try to control the way that we present to people so they don't judge us. That we try to create this facade, really. What other ways do we control our circumstances, right? We might try to control our circumstances and
our thoughts.
Yeah.
People we live with.
Relationships. Yeah. Nobody's trying to control relationships. What are you talking about?
Nobody. No, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking
I don't know what you're talking about in this
Especially a relationship.
Yeah, not at all.
Scratch that out.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, nobody's taking control of relationships.
Especially relationships.
Yeah, that's the very human element, right? Of the ways we try to take control. And the question is where does it get you? For all of us who try to take control, like the question is, does it work? Is it working? Does it work or is it working?
No, it's not working and it's never gonna work.
I mean, if you get really honest about it, it doesn't work.
No,
it just doesn't.
It
doesn't come together the way you think it will.
And then we're trying to control also the past. We try to bring it into the future, which is is not a good present moment to live in.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So yeah, and then and the change that we need to go through, we try to control that too. Yeah. About experiences that we go through in life.
Yeah.
People that come into our lives that we let in.
Mm-hmm.
Things that happen at work, things that happen when we're out, traffic, whatever other experiences that you can think of that we try to control, because we all know how we are inside and how much we try to control.
Right.
Or we're such a control freak.
Speak for yourself, Jasenia.
Saint over here with horns.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm perfect. I don't try to control anything.
Oh, yeah, she's perfect. See, she's trying to control that. Perfectionism. No. Nobody's perfect.
Yes, and yes, you're right. We have someone on Facebook saying perceptions of the world and our behavior in it. Exactly that.
Perfect, yeah.
You know, we've just gone through this past week, or 2 weeks, having had, you know, these mass shootings, which are a daily occurrence that we are facing right now. And I hear a lot of people talking about and expressing a lot of anger, bitterness, which is understandable, and the want to control, right? The need to fix, to get something in order, like what do we need to do? How can we fix this, right? And it's, you know, whenever there are instances that come up, circumstances that come up in our lives or indirectly, right? Like with these shootings, it really brings to the surface the ways that we're not in control, in the ways that we wish that we could be in control, in the ways that we wish we had some sort of control to limit incidences or circumstances like, you know, like these tragedies that we continue to face. And the world is constantly showing us, this universe is constantly showing us the ways in which we, one, don't have control of certain things, and also to think about where we do actually have control, which is, you know, in our perception, in our ability to see things in a right-minded way, in a way to see like what's the opportunity for growth. And so much of that requires letting go of control in order to understand what control you really do have in things.
But just by saying the word letting go, right? How do you feel when we mention those two words, letting go? How do you feel? Mm-hmm. Are you resistant to those words?
Yeah.
How is your heart? How is your mind? How is your soul? How is your whole body feeling right now? What is that vibration that you're getting from these words right now? Letting go. I mean, we all are going through something right now that we don't have control of.
Yeah.
We all are going through something that is really, really, really in our minds, because it's really where it sits, it's in our mind.
Yeah.
It sits there because why? The mind and the ego want to control the situation, so our heart won't feel it, and it will just go by the mind, right? Yeah. So letting go. What is letting go for you?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean for you?
Right. And how many are judging, you know, yourself?
Yeah, because that's what we do. That's the first thing we do is judge.
Yep.
That's what we do. And when we judge, there's no way we're gonna let go.
Yep. Or try to force.
We're forcing it.
Force how we're supposed to feel. Mm-hmm. What the right way is to show up.
Like why me? I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? That shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Could have, yeah. If, you know, so many questions we can ask about the situation that we're going through or the control issues that we're like, you know, trying to control.
Right.
You know, so many whys we can ask.
Yep. Familia Ruelas is saying no demands of others. Yeah.
Exactly.
We have to let go of our demands of other people. Exactly.
Yes. Expectation of others, because we always expect something from other people. And if they don't meet our expectations, who suffers? And
where did those expectations come from? Like one of the books that, you know, we read at the start of the year, the 4 Agreements in my Soul Spark sessions group, you know, was that one of his agreements, which is don't make assumptions, you know, and don't have expectations. When we put our expectations on circumstances, situations, people, who ends up getting hurt is the person who put those expectations or had those assumptions. So it's exactly right. We have to let go of those demands on other people and the demands we have on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most important part, is to think about what are the demands that we have on ourselves. Yeah, the ego does give us expectations, and that's exactly where they come from.
Yeah.
You know, to think about the ego. So what is ego? I'd love to hear from you all when you think of ego. What does that mean to you, the ego? What does that mean to you, Justiniya, when we talk about our ego? Be kind.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, when ego is there, you cannot think of being kind. And what you have to do is vent at that moment. Is vent, because really ego makes you feel like you're not worthy. Ego makes you feel, oh, that person talked bad about you, then what is my image gonna go? Or
ego has to point blame.
Yeah. Always blaming. So ego, it's that diminishing part of yourself. Like, it diminishes you in a way that is not you no more, that your heart is not in control, that love is not in control anymore, is that ego self. So ego is always trying to squish you down.
Right.
And when we listen to those words that are so negative in our minds, it goes down to our heart, and then that's our actions. And our actions always show how we are being in the world, is what, and then it's what we attract, right?
We can create from there. You can create from that place. You don't have to, but you can create from that place. Exactly.
But that's what ego wants.
Right.
Because ego wants to control.
Right.
And by controlling, it's like, I need to feed my ego even more.
Yeah.
By controlling. But what are we doing? We're hurting ourselves by controlling, really.
Exactly.
It's what we're doing, because we're not finding solutions. Right. We're making that control issue bigger.
Right. We're creating more problems.
More problems.
Right. Rather than
bigger
solutions.
Problems rather than solutions.
Yeah. And ego, to me, the most simplest way of ego is, Gabriella. Okay, great. I'm like, I never know your whole name. Thanks, Gabriella, for joining us. And yeah, so when I expect of others, and my judgments of others come from the ego, or comparing to others. Yes. Yeah.
That's one thing that we do, is we always compare.
Always a comparison. It's always in comparison.
It's such a hurtful way.
Has to point blame, has to compare, has to find some limitation, because the ego thrives in separation, thrives in limitation, because ego is just fear. It's a culmination of all the past. It's like the best protective mechanism ever, ego, because it's really just trying to help you survive. And it's highly intelligent in the way that it is computing all of the incidences that have gone wrong, that have been unsafe, that have been damaging, to help save you and protect you, so you don't fall into that place again. And yet, because it is operating from that fear, operating from that level of protection, is a critic. Is a cynic. Doesn't believe in anything. Is judging everything. And it literally, it's, people wonder why they're so exhausted. If you are exhausted, if you are walking around completely exhausted, if you need to take naps constantly because you are exhausted,
your higher self is trying to tell you something.
It's because your mind is going nonstop. And if you think about the mind being at the root of that being fear, the question you have to ask yourself is, what are the fears that are operating your life right now?
Yeah, ask questions. It's like, why do I need to control this?
Right.
So if I can, instead of a controlling way,
what are you trying to control?
Yeah, why? But if you ask yourself, okay, if I control this, what am I gaining from controlling?
Yeah.
Can I control the situation anyways? Can I control that person that did this to me? Can I control whatever goes around when it's already there and happening?
Yeah.
Can you rewind the tape and not make it happen?
Right.
We cannot rewind the tape. Guess what? It's already there.
Right.
So from that place, let's be present and ask ourselves, what if I come from a place of love?
Right.
What, instead of controlling, what can I do to make myself feel better?
Right.
And
what's the most loving act that you can do
for yourself?
And encompass, and now take it a step further, is not only what is most loving to you, because yes, first and foremost to you.
Yes.
And then what also includes the love of the other person involved, or the situation involved, or the circumstance involved. It's so hard, so challenging when we are faced with circumstances that are painful, brutal, matter of fact, right? And it's so hard to get to that place to see as an opportunity.
Because you get in a dark place.
You get in a dark place.
You get in a dark place and you blame that other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to come from that loving place.
It can be very hard to come from that loving place. Tell the truth.
It's hard to come from the loving place when you know that other person has hurt you, or has treated you,
or hurt someone in your family, or someone close to you. It's really hard.
Really hard.
Really hard. And the purpose is not to just like pass over those feelings of hurt, those feelings of anger, those feelings of resentment, bitterness, all those things. Is like, feel those things, vent. Like first and foremost, the first step of letting go of control, vent it out. Vent it out. Scream it, cry it, yell, rage. You know, as long as you don't hurt other people, you know, in a safe container, express what you need. Say what you need, communicate what you need, even if it's writing out a letter. I can't tell you how many times for me, what's effective for me is, you know, writing an email. I don't have to send it. Matter of fact, I could just delete it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's to go through the process of getting it out, or writing out a letter.
Yeah.
Send it to 123 Smith Road in Johnsonville, USA. I don't know. Drop it in the post office. Like, I really think I have a feeling people do this. I have a feeling people write letters. They send it to like 123 nowhere in America, or, you know, and just to go through the process or the emotion of communicating and sending that out.
Or when you're writing a letter, you know, just imagine that where the blank paper, there is a blank paper, right? Imagine that this paper is the person that you don't feel right with. Start writing, and if you have to scratch it and punch it and whatever you have to do, write. Vent it all out, let it all out, say what you have to say. Then rip the paper and burn it. Burn it and let it go.
Flush it down the toilet. Whatever you want to do.
You know, but venting is how you're clearing your soul. It's how you're freeing your soul. Because really, when we don't vent, it's like having a cut and you just put a Band-Aid on.
Acknowledging the fear that exists, acknowledging the ego, because the ego first and foremost just wants to be acknowledged.
Yes.
That's what I find.
We don't have to like say, oh, go away, or, you know, you don't have to talk back to the ego. It's just say thank you for being present. But at this moment, it's not what I need. You know, this is what I choose to think over these thoughts that you're making me think. Or that you're trying to control, for me to control the situation. So there is always an option of how to change the wording that we're putting in our mind.
Yes, exactly. And then the next step would be to acknowledge. You know, acknowledge what has happened. Give voice to what has happened. You know, so often, you know, I definitely can tell you, having gone through all sorts of trauma. I mean, we all have trauma that we've experienced in our lives. And we often don't take the time to acknowledge. I just had a conversation yesterday I got to meet a really wonderful group of people, and it was just it was beautiful to connect with people again. Like, thank God things are coming to a place where we can start to gather and engage with one another. But I met a group of people and I had a conversation about grief. And there was a woman who told me in the span of a year, she lost 11 people in her life. Oh my gosh. And she never stopped to acknowledge the grief of having lost 11 people throughout the year until her parent died, And it's how often are we just moving through life, like suppressing and not acknowledging what has actually happened, First, like the second step, after venting it out is to really acknowledge, name it, call it out, what happened, and then acknowledge the what it's presenting to you, what it's informing to you in the time.
It's an opportunity for you to really heal.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for really ask yourself, why do I need to control and act in fear and let fear take control of my life, situation, people, or whatever it is?
Right.
Why? Why do I need to do that?
Yes.
What is it that I need to learn from this?
Right, exactly.
What happened in the past,
yes.
Of my life that is now showing up at this moment because of this situation?
Yes.
And what are the steps that I have to take in a loving place for myself and the other person or the situation that you're going through?
Right. The question always, what would love have me do? Mm-hmm. What would a person who loves themselves do? First and foremost, what would a person who loves themselves do? What would they communicate? What action would they take? What would love have you do in these situations? Thanks for joining us, Angela. Thanks for joining us, everyone, as we're talking about control issues and how we come to the path of letting go. On top of acknowledging, there's the coming to acceptance, right? Once we've acknowledged what's happened, once we've figured out and found the opportunity, what is this situation trying to reveal to me? What is it showing to me? What do I need to let go of? Or what action do I need to take? Or how do I need to show up, differently that comes from that place of love? And then the next would be like, how do you accept? How do you come into a place of acceptance of what is?
Yeah, how do you accept what's going on? And I think for me, accepting is really digging in.
Yeah.
It's really digging in, accepting, and be like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it a little bit.
Yeah.
But there is something of this. There is something that is trying to show me.
Yeah.
There is always something to learn when we're going through situations,
Yeah.
So what is acceptance? Okay, I'm in this place. What is the next step to take?
Yeah.
Right, ask questions, And I always go to the inner baby because it's always who's suffering the most. Is your inner child is the one of these days we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about inner child. We could probably do that in the next. Yes. Yeah, in the next one.
How to heal your inner child.
Doing all that work. Yeah.
That's the root. We're doing this work, and I cannot say enough how painful it is of really finding out the root of all these emotions and the triggers that I get from trying to control things that I used to control in the past.
Right.
Because this Yesenia that is here right now is learning.
Yeah.
It's learning, it's growing, and she wants to be a whole with her inner baby.
Yeah.
So in order to become that person, it's really accepting the situation and the feelings that are arising, the emotions that are being triggered by something, by whatever it is we're all going through.
Yeah, it's the things that haven't been given voice to, haven't been nurtured, haven't been nourished, and that process of acceptance is about nourishing, is about nurturing, in order to come to a place where you can truly surrender and can truly allow,
I mean, we all, and I don't know how many of us are parents, but even if you're not a parent, you have a pet, you have.
Yeah, if you have a fur baby.
Yeah, you have a fur baby.
And they test. Come on.
Oh my God, they test you. So you know how to become that parent.
Yeah.
You know, in a loving way to your baby.
Yeah.
You know how to talk to them. So if you know how to talk to them, why is it so hard for us to do the same thing for our baby?
Right.
Inside ourselves.
Right.
You know,
or to acknowledge it.
To acknowledge it.
To acknowledge that is there.
That is there. Because we don't do that. But it's because most of us don't know.
Yeah.
That it does come from your inner baby.
Yeah. Yeah. There's these split aspects, of ourselves. And when I think about the ways of which, like, see, I can't control my dog right now. He's whining because he wants to be part of the live that we're doing right now.
Maybe next time you just have to carry him here. Here's my baby.
We'll do a debut and bring him out. But yeah, and in that nurturing, in that nourishing of our inner child is to really understand, like, what are the things that we actually do need? What are the things that we really do need to honor in ourselves? Hear this dog?
He never does that.
He doesn't. Coco!
Cannot control this situation, so we're just gonna let it be.
We're just gonna let it. He's gonna be okay, y'all. We have no control.
Trying about,
exactly.
It's testing. It's testing us.
Exactly. But it's figuring out what are the things that need to be nurtured, that need to be nourished. And when we talk about reparenting, it's not. So many people think like, oh, that's just like being nice to ourselves or like talking nice or whatever. It's like there are two sides. There is, if you think about parents, there is the masculine and the feminine aspect. There is the mother and the father, and they both have two different roles. And what are the ways of which you have been have lacked in your life the presence of that parenting, nurturing energy, both from, the side of your father and from the side of your mother. And those are the things that you're doing for yourself. Those are the things of which you're coming into, discover the healing for yourself,
finding that balance between female and the male aspect in order to become one as a loving parent, to talk to your baby, because it's often is like sometimes we're too harsh on our babies,
right?
Sometimes we're judging, and sometimes we're sending words not of loving and understanding and compassion, and just telling the baby, I know what you're feeling, what you're feeling right now. I know that you're hurting right now, and I know what you are going through right now. But I'm here. I'm here for you now. I'm here. And I hear you. And I'm here to love you. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. I'm here to tell you that you are safe. I don't know, so many words we can find to really make it feel safe.
You're deserving. You're loved. You're lovable. You're magnificent, you're brilliant, you're capable. Like, how many of us are walking around feeling like we're not capable?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the root of imposter syndrome. And I know a lot of people out there suffer from imposter syndrome. It's the fact that you need to be nurtured. You need to nurture yourself and let yourself understand that you are highly capable of doing anything that you put your foot forward towards. Thanks for joining us, Chandra. And I love that so much of your work right now is in this therapy of reparenting. And Gabriella says, I ask, what is the lesson and what should I do to change what I'm feeling about the issue? You have a mother who has dementia and are struggling with your sisters and finding the right choice for her, and can see the egos and fear and the issues, and have to take a step back and breathe. And I get that. That's so much.
That's a beautiful work. You're already doing the work
just by
mentioning,
being so present,
by being open, just by saying that.
I just want to honor the courage and the bravery of going through that.
That takes.
And it's so scary when you're dealing with someone close to you who is going through an illness and going through a health challenge that you really have no control, and the fear, the fear that comes out in yourself and the people around you. I mean, that is just it's legit.
Cynthia, oh my God, I'm just so glad to see you here and to see that you are listening to this message.
Yes, thank you.
I welcome you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's, how we talk to ourselves, how we shift the voice of judgment, and we talked about this, one day I was sitting there and I was like, this voice is familiar, but it's not me. This isn't me. And I, for so long, did not realize that voice wasn't myself because I got so comfortable with it. And then I had this period of time where things were so great and so wonderful. And I was like riding a wave, and then things came crashing down. And then there I was facing, the presence of this voice and coming to understand well, this really is not me. This isn't me. Who is this voice? Who is it?
And if it's familiar, if a voice is familiar,
yeah,
it's because you already know where it comes from. It can be your mom. It can be,
for me, it was my mother.
Your dad.
My mother's
it can
voice.
Be,
yep.
Other past relationships that you went through, and it's coming. If it's familiar, it's because that baby is telling you, you know what? This is where I'm hurting.
Yeah.
This is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And guess what? Remember that day or that time that this happened. This person said this. And then this person said that same thing, or maybe different ways, but it triggered that same emotion.
Right.
But it's another person.
Right.
So why do we have to go through these circumstances? Why do we have to go through these experiences?
Yeah.
Why do we allow people to show us our emotions when, they trigger those emotions for a reason?
Yeah.
Because that person was meant, or that circumstance was meant to be there, to happen, to show you that emotion that is being suppressing down and down, but it needs to come up in order to heal ourselves.
Right. Yep. Yeah, Gabriela says I hear them all the time. Yeah, it's so important to when you come to an awareness of it, so that you can re-instruct, right?
Redirect,
reframe,
reframe
the story,
Mm-hmm.
reframe the story.
Yeah.
And then, after surrendering and allowing, I think really the last step is trust. When you really get through the process of recognizing the opportunity of growth, that the situation, the person, the feelings, what they're showing you, what they're revealing to you, and always is revealing to the opportunity to move back to a state of love, to move back into a state of peace, to let go, to shift the perception, to reframe the critic, to let go of the judgment, right? And come into a place and trust that this situation that you're in is happening for you, not against you. That is teaching you the wisdom, that it's sculpting you. I think of we're being sculpted into the magic of who we are, into the power of who we are, into the love of who we are, into creating the desires that we want, into being able to draw towards us the things that give us purpose and meaning in our lives. All of it is happening for you, and to make you into that person that can then have those, to hold the space of those. And I don't know about some of you, but I know for us, we gone through the different circumstances, and it allows us to be able to relate to other people. It allows us to be able to share or help a friend who's going through a hard time, because we know the lesson well, because we've been through the experience. We have to think about how often, the things that happen to us in our lives, how they're giving us the wisdom to be able to help and support the people around us. And that's something that we're not always thinking about, but is a huge part of this existence, and why these hard, painful things can come up, because they give us the wisdom to help others. They give us the wisdom to get out of our own way and to show up and care for the people around us.
So what? Obviously, we all go through experiences in our lives for a reason.
Yeah.
Like the lady that's going with her mom, going through taking care of her
So
mom with
tough.
dementia, which is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
But I know that we all go through something for a reason.
Yeah.
And I know that we don't see the light when we are in that position of just seeing the problem and not seeing a light to breathe or to see or to come out of. But what I know is that when you trust, I don't know what you call it, God, your higher being, source, divinity,
right.
energy, universe,
whatever.
I don't know what you call it. Tap into that your because spirit, that's gonna guide you. Yes. That's gonna guide you to really see the answers of the situation that you're going through.
Yeah.
And if we are talking right now, it's because we're going through that.
Yeah.
If we are talking right now, it's because we're healing right now.
Yeah.
If we're talking about this, it's because I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
I'm always learning.
Life is an unfolding of it all the time.
Life is always gonna show you something for you to grow more as a whole person, and to love yourself more, and to understand yourself more, and to become the person. Because if we want love, we have to be loved.
Yeah.
If we want understanding, we have to be understanding.
Yes.
If we want a world full of peace and love, it takes one person to share that, to show us that,
to invest it here, right, and then share of that with other people, to be that state for yourself.
Be that.
So
Chandra, there is always a lesson to learn in everything that we go through.
Always.
Everything, but that lesson is always for you.
Yes.
It's for you.
Yes.
It's you don't see the light right now, but trust me, at the end you're gonna be like, oh my God, I had to go through this in order to become this person.
Right.
Or I had to go through that in order to understand this.
Right.
Oh my God, I had to go through that in order to remember my past traumas that I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was suppressing them.
Right.
Yeah. So Trust
is everything. Chandra, I love to hear that you are learning how to show yourself more grace, more and more grace. And that is the beauty. And that's what we're all encouraged to do, is to ask, how can I show myself more grace?
More grace.
How can I show grace to the people around me? And it always starts with you.
And another thing I will suggest, because me personally, I'll do it all the time, is like, just because we're learning and we're healing doesn't mean you're perfect.
No.
Doesn't mean that you already know all the steps to become the great person.
Roman.
And you're not supposed to feel.
Yeah, Alonzo.
No. When you're going through this situation is when you feel the most.
Yeah.
Is when more feelings come up, and in your mind you feel lost.
Yeah.
So at that moment where you feel the weakest, or at the moment when you feel like there is no out, like you cannot go right because it's wrong, go left because it's wrong, north, south, west, east, whatever that you're talking or want to talk to yourself is not, you don't see no answers, and it's not soothing your heart, and it's not helping you with your emotions. Find the one person you can call and vent.
Allow yourself to be vulnerable and honest.
It's okay.
Honest.
It's okay. Vent. And
honest.
This is why we say vent.
You might be like, I wish that they were dead. It's because grief, loss, it's a death cycle. That's why that's coming up. There should be no judgment around feeling like that. Just let it be. Find someone where you can be open and honest.
That safe place where you can be open and honest.
Yes.
Because nobody's gonna judge you.
Yeah.
We are human beings. We feel.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be
That's not
better.
True. That's not true. People might judge you, and those are not your people.
That's what I'm saying. Find the safe place.
Find the people who will
the safe place with people that won't judge you. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because if you go and tell everyone, not everyone feels like you.
Yeah.
Not everyone is at the same level of you.
Yeah.
Not everyone is looking for the same thing that you're looking.
Right.
Being a spiritual, as I call myself, is always looking for the best. It's always looking to know more about myself and connecting with my higher power.
Yeah.
Is to know more. So, and me, I have that same person that I can go to and vent.
Yes.
And like how I call it, vomit. When I feel like, oh, my life. You know, and I just want to throw everything away and just like, ooh.
Right. And it's holding okay. you in love. Somebody who's going to hold you in love. Right? And not make your feelings wrong and not invalidate your feelings, because I'm sorry, what I'm personally learning is that people who invalidate your feelings are not your people. No. People who make you feel like you're not enough are not your people. People who make you think that your perspective is always wrong and not open to hearing you and not open to a discourse, a conversation that holds the both of you, the space of both of you to come to an understanding of each other are not your people, you know?
Compassion is a must.
Yes.
Being compassionate to that person, because we are going through the same thing.
Right.
And there are days that you're going to be okay. And there are days that you're not going to be okay. But guess what? That's called being a human.
Right.
So it's okay to feel.
Right.
It's okay to vent. This is why we call the first step to let go of controlling is to vent.
Yeah.
Because there is something in here that is not letting out, and your mind is taking control of it. Why? Because you haven't vent. You haven't said all.
Yeah.
You know, that is really bothering your heart.
Right. Venting is so
important.
So important. We just went full circle back to the start. Vent. Find a safe place.
You have to.
And if you don't have someone in your life, you know, like, we have a community, you know, and we'd love to bring you a part of that community, because it's about creating a safe space where we can grow and we can eliminate that not enough story. We can discover our light. We can tap into our soul, you know. So it's so important to have community and people around you where you can be authentic in how you're feeling.
Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, and that's what we love. We love community. We love to show our hearts. We love to talk from experiences, because it's the best way to communicate with you and connect with you is what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
And it's really how we're gonna connect is by experiences that we're going through.
Yeah.
You know, it's being vulnerable and we're being open to say our.
That's how we learn who we are.
Yeah. So.
Yep. And how you uncover your strength, your resiliency, your power. You are so much more powerful than you can possibly even imagine.
Yes.
If you could see yourself through the eyes that see you with such love and power, you know, that's really the place that you need to get to, is being able to see yourself through those eyes. So just know that these circumstances, this too will pass, you know. Gabriela says, I need to release the energy in a physical way, like walking. That's so beautiful. Yes. Yeah.
Hola, Alonso.
Hola.
Hola.
It's definitely releasing it. Yep, releasing in a way of physicality. Yep, walking, running, going to the gym. You know, honoring your body's need to get that pent up energy out. Thank you so much, Gabriela, for saying that. Exactly. That's another way of getting that energy out. Yep. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
All right.
So know that this is a safe space.
Yes.
For all of you.
Yeah. We're coming to you every week.
And I want to say something that is not just for girls. This is also for men.
Yeah.
Because men, you do feel too. Men, you do go through hard stuff.
You're human, you feel.
So you feel. So just because we need to find a man that can talk about stuff too. Like
we'll have some guests.
We'll have some guests.
We'll have some guests. Maybe we could get Anthony.
My God, a miracle. Talking about miracles.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Yes.
I love Anthony.
Yeah, he's great.
Amazing.
We love him.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you. We'll see you next Sunday.
Virtual hugs.
Have a great week.
Smile.
You know, make it a positive start, and do something loving for yourself.
Yes.
Do something loving for yourself, and spread that love forward. Okay. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Besitos.
Besitos all around. Bye. Bye.